Coming up on today's show, we'll be talking about June's big releases, including Bad Boys, Ride or Die, A Quiet Place, Day One, and Inside Out 2.
We'll be letting you know about not one, but two incredible seasons of classic movies coming to Cineworld.
And we will be sampling the M&M topped popcorn.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to What's On at Cineworld Cinemas. I'm Luke Owen.
And I'm Dan Layton.
Dan, I have been informed that it's summer.
But nobody's informed the weather.
Because you're wearing a cardigan.
Yeah, I'm quite chilly.
Yeah, I'm wearing jeans today.
Yeah.
I'm actually quite upset.
So Luke to not be wearing jorts is quite something.
So do you know what you should do? You should ignore that there's bad weather out there and come to the cinema. We've got loads of films on. Let's go talk about them.
Oh, go on then.
Dan, it is June and we've got some big movies out this month. Kicking things off with Bad Boys, Ride or Die, the fourth entry in the Bad Boys franchise.
4.
Yeah. And amazing things, we were looking this up just before we started recording.
Yeah.
Next year is the 30th anniversary of the first movie.
That's wild to me because it's Will Smith in it. It's Will Smith and Martin Lawrence and they basically look the same as they did in the first one.
Yeah. And they're just having some more great action.
Yeah.
I'm really excited that it took them a long time to get Bad Boys for Life to the big screen. You know, there was a 13-year gap between Bad Boys 2 and Bad Boys 3. And a lot of that was just directors left, writers left, this and the other. So it took them a long time to finally get this. And now they're on a roll. Just 4 years later and they've got another one.
I mean, yeah.
This is the quickest turnaround in any Bad Boys
You wait
movie.
13 years for a Bad Boy and then all of a sudden I feel like these are going to be fairly rammed cinemas. Good time vibes with Bad Boys.
And you can see it on 4DX,
Yeah.
Super Screen, Screen X, and IMAX.
Yes, yeah, and with that kind of action, you want to go and see these special formats. You want to see it be flung around in 4DX like we are right now. Be the giant screen that you can possibly get in Super Screen and IMAX. I feel like, a Bad Boys movie is going to be a good time.
But if that is not your vibe, and you want something a bit more ooky spooky, then perhaps you can go see...
Why? It used to be... Broken Britain. It used to be that I wouldn't have to hide from the cinema any month except for October. There seem to be horror movies every month now.
Well, not only that, you're getting them multiple times a month.
I know.
Because we've got, I think, 3 horror movies this month. And we're kicking things off with The Watched, which is a movie about 4 people within sort of a cabin in the woods.
God, why is it always a cabin in the woods? Why do we continue to go to cabins in the woods? We've seen enough of these movies. It's our fault now.
And then perhaps, Dan, they're not alone.
Oh, God, they're never alone. We're never alone.
Perhaps they're being watched by something, someone, or something.
Yeah.
You not into it?
I bet it's really good.
But if that's not your vibe, perhaps you could just wait 1 week and then go and see Inside Out 2.
Now you're speaking my language.
And boy howdy, have we got some Inside Out 2 right here. Some wonderful cup toppers.
Yeah.
To celebrate the release of Inside Out 2.
There's one for every character, isn't there?
There is, yeah. There are 5 characters available. Obviously, there's
I've got Angry.
And I've got Joy, of course. There's not every single character in the movie, though, because there's a whole new host of characters, a whole new host of feelings. There aren't just the 5 original feelings anymore.
Well, it's because Riley's a teenager now.
Yeah.
And you do get a whole load of feelings when you're a teenager. I love Inside Out.
Yep.
It's one of my favorite Pixar films, I'm gonna say ever. I think it's just so beautifully conceived. I went to a screening of it when I was a famous YouTuber. Back in 2016, and Pete Docter was there, who is now the CEO of Pixar, who at the time was the director of Inside Out, and he spoke very passionately about the film, and I got to ask him a couple of questions, and he said my question was good, and I was thrilled about it. But one of the things I said to him after the fact was, obviously it's based on all those various lands, she has Hockeyland and all those things. One of my lands was Cinemaland, and the large reason for that was Toy Story, which he, wrote. So it was a very special connection I have with film Inside Out. And then the film's just amazing. It's just a wonderful story. It's a very thoughtful and meaningful story about how we deal with our emotions and things like that growing up. So if you're going to give one of the Pixar movies a sequel, the idea of our emotions growing and getting more complex the older we get, Inside Out's the one.
It was almost like the pinnacle of Pixar, because the joke of Pixar had always been, what if toys had emotions? What if monsters had emotions? What if bugs had emotions? What if cars had emotions? And then it became, what if emotions had emotions?
Yeah, and look, just a piece of magic.
The first time I saw Inside Out, I cried during the opening credits, and my then girlfriend, now wife, turned to me and was like, what's the matter? And I was like, I just know something sad is going to happen. I was like preemptively sobbing, because I was like, I just know that. And I was proved right.
Yeah.
And the power of that first movie is when Bing Bong shows up.
Oh my God.
I had this moment of just like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I think this movie might have lost me ever so slightly. Sure, I love the voice actor, but I'm not sure I'm into this Bing Bong thing. And the movie started losing me. And then, spoilers, cried a lot for the fate of Bing Bong.
Bing Bong.
And I suddenly sat there and I watched it not that long ago with my little one, and I'm like, I'm 40 next year, and here I am crying over a character called Bing Bong.
Different for you now, you got a kid as well.
I know, yeah.
Cripes.
But the first movie is so incredible, and it's so, the imagination for it and the world that they've created for it is so cool. And it's great to then go back and revisit that world, now with a whole new host of emotions for Riley.
I'm really excited. I think, I enjoyed Elemental last year. I'm always going to have a nice time at a Pixar movie. The degree of nice time is sometimes higher, sometimes more measured. This one, I just feel going in, I'm really excited to see what they're going to do.
Yeah. And being that this is a family movie, why not go as a full family and get yourself the family ticket?
Oh, yeah.
Where adults pay kid prices.
Perfect. You'll have kid emotions and you'll pay kids prices. You might as well then also get yourself a kid's treat.
Exactly. Get yourself some little cup with a lovely topper for it.
Yeah, we do M&M topping popcorn.
I was going to say, so we have our popcorn here, our usual popcorn, but let me just angle it a little bit more to the camera so they can see this. It's topped with M&Ms. So should we have a little try at this?
I call this Whiplash Special. Do you remember the film Whiplash?
I do remember, yeah.
Oh my God. They did this in Whiplash.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. See, also you've got salty popcorn here, and salt and chocolate is the perfect marriage.
Oh yeah. I was going to do one handful, but
now we're going back.
Yeah.
That is perfect.
Yeah, so good.
Put it down before it's too late. Oh my God. It changes the flavor profile of the popcorn.
I know. I'm sorry, crew. You can't have any of this.
That's magic.
Sorry, I should also mention as well that you can go see Inside Out in 4DX. Do you want some more popcorn?
The problem is if I carry on, I won't stop. That is genuinely sensational.
It's a game changer.
It really is. No, and I'm trying to not overhype it, because when you overhype it, it sounds like you're faking it. But it changed the flavor of both the popcorn and the M&Ms, and I'm going to be thinking about that for a while.
The following week after that, slight change of pace. You can go see the Bikeriders.
Yeah. This was.
You've seen, right?
I have seen. It was at the London Film Festival last year, and it is. I know it is. That was the big selling point going in. There was a big queue for this movie. Tom Hardy, Austin Butler, Jodie Comer, beloved of this parish. So it's based on a photograph book. That it's basically the story of a bike gang in 60s sort of middle America, and it is. The director and the writer sort of saw a photograph book of these bikers, and the story came from that. And as a result, you have what feels like a sort of slice of life film. It's very much in the aura and in the style, the production design. It's a fascinating portrait of a time period and the people within that time period, where it does feel like kind of seeing a photograph come to life in a way. The performances are, as you would expect with a cast like that, just so complete, so engrossing. Jodie Comer's quite special.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What a talent.
Yeah, and it's just, very, very, very engrossing.
But maybe you want to just pop down the hallway of your local Cineworld Cinema.
Yeah.
and just, maybe take a slight little left into a different screen, how do you feel about beautiful beaches?
I love beautiful beaches.
How do you feel about idyllic settings?
It's one of my favourite things.
How do you feel about open water?
Yeah, now you've lost me.
How do you feel about sharks being in that open water while you're stuck there?
You simply must stop.
Because, Dan, there's something in the water.
Oh, God. And there's always something in the water.
And that something is sharks.
Why can't I just have a nice film about going on holiday?
Because sometimes the sharks have to get you.
No, they don't.
At least they're regular size this time.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Do you know in life they're like, bucket list experiences, bungee jumping, swimming with sharks. Why do we do this to ourselves? That sounds horrible.
Sounds exciting.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not exciting for them. I think it's probably quite terrifying for them.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But, you can go check that out. It's a sharksploitation movie, and I'm a huge fan of sharksploitation.
You are. You love those films.
Do. So I'm very excited for this one.
Too many teeth.
And if you want to go a little bit further down the corridor, maybe take a slight right, you can go see...
Sorry, I just want to get the geography of this corridor that you're talking about. Yeah, I'm with you.
So here's screen 1.
Yeah, got it. I've seen the Bikeriders. Finished now. Then I'm going to
go to screen 2.
And I've seen, what's the film called, the shark film?
Something in the Water.
I've seen something in the water through my hands, like this. Okay, and then I go over here.
Yeah, then you go into screen 3 over here.
That's a three movie day.
And you can go see Russell Crowe in The Exorcism.
Oh, another horror film.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's another horror. It's another trip to Horror Town for you.
Right. Okay. So maybe I'll wear like a particularly baggy top that I can hide behind on this day.
And dark trousers.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want you to be confused, because I know if you're thinking, oh, it's Russell Crowe and it's an Exorcist movie.
He was in The Pope's Exorcist recently.
This is not The Pope's Exorcist. It feels like Russell Crowe's decided, this is my genre now.
Right,
and he's doing another Exorcism movie.
So it's not related to The Pope's Exorcist in any way?
No, but that movie is getting a sequel that is also starring Russell Crowe. But yeah, this is a different Russell Crowe Exorcism movie.
Gotcha.
But what is really interesting to me about this is that one of the producers on this movie is Kevin Williamson, who was the writer of the original Scream trilogy. And things like The Faculty and things like that.
Interesting.
And the movie is about an actor making a movie about an exorcism.
Right. Yeah. Okay, strong. I see where he's going with this.
So there's some, that Kevin Williamson meta aspect to it. I wonder if there is going to be some, not ties to The Pope's Exorcist, but certainly some reference points to him having recently starred in a movie where he was about exorcism.
Well, I mean, that's the fun thing with when you are playing meta in that way. It's having someone known for a certain thing playing with that script. I'm into that.
So we're now, it's the following week.
I've gone home for a bit. I've recovered from the sharks and the exorcism.
Absolutely, yes. You've had a little week off from being scared.
Okay.
So we'll go back to the cinema now.
Great, lovely. What are we waiting for?
It's A Quiet Place Day 1.
Oh, God.
It's another horror movie for you, Dan.
The horrors never end.
I love A Quiet Place.
Yes.
Loved A Quiet Place Part 2 as well. And I love the fact that we're now almost taking a bit of a purge angle on this one. When they did the first purge, we're now getting what actually happened on that first day.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting because obviously A Quiet Place felt so fresh and vibrant in many ways because it was a quiet place, and we were a long time into this new world that these characters were living in. We learned what was going on because of saying things like its sound, all of that. It was essentially a silent movie in a manner of speaking. Then the sequel, obviously, we get a little bit more on that development. And now we're going back to a time when we did have sound and when this was happening. So it's a very different approach to the A Quiet Place milieu, if you will. So I'm kind of really intrigued to see how they're going to maintain that energy that drove people to want to go and see both original and Quiet Place movies in a context that is entirely different.
Yeah, and you're going to be super scared by it.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
Massively.
I was super scared by the first one.
Yeah.
And its sequel as well, actually.
Well, because it was another thing that was so genius about it, is that sound is such an integral part of the horror experience. If you watch Halloween with no sound at all, it's not that scary. If you watch it with sound, you're suddenly scared very much. So the idea of using those silent moments, and then the second you hear a pin drop or something like that, you're absolutely terrified. So I'm really intrigued to see what they're going to do with it.
I also very much appreciate you, Dan, because it wasn't me that brought up John Carpenter on this episode of What's On. It was you this time.
Yeah.
So I'm really appreciative of that.
Thank you. You're so welcome.
So on a slightly different tangent though, you could go and see The Kind of Kindness, which I don't know a lot about, outside of the fact that a lot of people online are sharing that clip of Emma Stone doing a dance.
Yes. So this is Yorgos Lanthimos directing. I love Yorgos Lanthimos, famous of course for The Favourite, for Killing of a Sacred Deer, The Lobster, and most recently Poor Things, which of course won an Oscar for Emma Stone, her second Best Actress Oscar, and she is reunited in this film in the cast with Willem Dafoe. So yeah, it's a reuniting of this team, this kind of squad, but if you look at the trailer for this film, it feels very different to the Yorgos style that we've come to know, especially in The Favourite and Poor Things, both being period pieces. And Killing of a Sacred Deer was a very sort of out there modern movie, and that's his style. He likes out there movies. This one feels very stylistically different from an already stylistic director. I'm dead curious about it, and I'm very excited because I love me some Yorgos.
And lastly for this month, we have Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1, which is Kevin Costner is a cowboy.
Oh, he loves being a cowboy these days, doesn't he, Kevin?
We also have our event cinema. On Tuesday, the 11th of June, we have the 2024 Royal Opera live performance of Andrea Chenier.
On the 13th of June, we have the National Theatre Live's incredible production of Motive and the Queue.
On Thursday, the 20th, you can go see Waitress the Musical, which I have seen and is very, very good.
Correct. On the 20th and 22nd of June, we have Ghost Right Here, Right Now.
Right here, right now.
Right.
And then on Friday, the 21st, you can see the 2-episode finale of Doctor Who.
This season of Doctor Who is a sort of game-changing season for Doctor Who. They've got that Disney investment. Here it's like season 14, in America it's season 1 almost. It's delineating a brand new experience for Doctor Who. It's beloved, obviously. The production value has increased massively along with that kind of Disney inference, and it is a massive event, this finale. So I think if you're a fan of Doctor Who, this is the place you want to see it.
June is also Pride Month, and this June we'll see the return of Pride Season, featuring curated selection of iconic LGBTQ plus films for just £5 a ticket, including 1982's Death Becomes Her on Tuesday the 4th of June, the 10th anniversary of Pride on Wednesday the 12th of June, Priscilla Queen of the Desert, the 30th anniversary on Wednesday the 19th of June, and Carol from 2015 on Wednesday the 26th of June.
What I love about this season is that it is both queer movies, Carol, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, of course Pride. It's also movies beloved by the queer community like Death Becomes Her. Iconic. This is the way you do Pride season at the cinema.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic. Yeah, love it.
I haven't seen Pride in a while as well.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that again. 2024 also marks the 25th anniversary, or I suppose the 25th anniversary you could say, of 1999.
What a weird way of putting that, but also that's true.
And we are celebrating the greatest year of cinema ever. I will die on that hill. It was the peak of pop culture. It was the peak of every single thing that brought us together as a society.
I'm never going to fight you on that.
1999, we are showing many, many movies from that year, including on the 21st of June, The Matrix, which is also going to be shown in 4DX. Then going into July, we have The Iron Giant on July 1st, and The Mummy from July 5th.
The Mummy in the cinema again. Oh yes, thank you kindly.
And then on the 15th of July, we have American Pie, a classic movie
Absolutely
of my
massive.
teenage years.
I am fascinated, not to be this guy, but how are Gen Z going to react to American Pie? You need to take them and you need to let me know.
Well, speaking of that, another iconic movie of my teenage years, 22nd of July, South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. And then on the 29th of July, The Sixth Sense.
Can I make a confession to you? I've never seen The Sixth Sense.
But you know.
Oh yeah, obviously,
Yeah,
I've
obviously,
lived
at
in
this
the
point.
world. But what a fun place to see it for the first time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a horror movie where I would... Is it horror? Would we say horror? Sixth Sense?
It's a
creepy
a thriller.
Thriller?
Yeah.
I'll go and see it. Either way, an excuse to just go and sit and live in the 90s again.
Yep.
I'll take it. Because that lineup is such a fantastic selection of films from all genres. There's the genre redefining, boundary pushing Matrix. There's the all-out comedy of American Pie. The teen movie really came to life in the late 90s, especially.
Absolutely. The sex comedy.
Yeah.
It made a big return. It sort of died out in the late 1980s and then made this huge resurgence in the late 1990s. And that rise of that too hot for TV era.
Yeah.
And like American Pie was at the forefront of that.
And then you've got South Park, which I think if you want one defining image of the late 90s, Cartman is probably it.
Yep. You know? Talk about a landmark TV show that then became a landmark movie. South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, like holds up to this day. The humor in that, the points that it is making, the political statements that it's making, still hold up, and it's still really funny.
Yeah, what a phenomenal selection this is. I'm all here for this.
Told you, man, 1999.
Yeah,
it's the greatest year of cinema and music.
Preaching to the converted.
And speaking of anniversaries, we have a 30th anniversary screening of The Crow on Saturday, the 1st of June.
We have an autism-friendly screening of the Garfield movie on Sunday the 2nd at 11 a.m.
And the 40th anniversary of Star Trek III, The Search for Spock, on Friday the 14th and Sunday the 16th. And if you want to be an early type of bird, you can pre-order your tickets now, pre-book your tickets now for Deadpool and Wolverine. And if that's not exciting enough for you comic book fans, we are showing all 8 Spider-Man movies on the big screen once again.
Massive.
And you can pre-book your tickets for all 8 of them right now.
I mean, some of my favorite movie experiences of the past few years were Spider-Man movies. You know, the kind of shot in the mirror, the reverse mirror for what was his face?
For Willem Dafoe?
No.
Oh, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, when he's having that conversation on the way to prom.
Oh,
the kind of electricity in the the
I think it's about Willem Dafoe talking to the Goblin mask.
Well, there you go. But then also the kind of like Days of Future Past elements of No Way Home are just,
just getting to see Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2!
Which is, arguably the greatest comic book movie of all time.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see that on the big screen again.
Yeah, let's go.
But that's all we've got time for on this edition of What's On at Cineworld Cinemas. If you want to check out any of the movies that we've talked about today, click the links in the video description down below.
And if you're a fan of this sort of thing and you'd like it in an audio version, we have a podcast available wherever you get your podcast from.
And we'll see you next month. I've been Luke Owen.
And I've been Dan Layton. I was so busy thinking about Inside Out 2.
And that's What's On.